to become a conscious creator of your life, meaning to be able to create what you want, have the experiences, the relationship, the life that you desire, right? Attract all those things. There's two things you need to master, two extremely important skills that everybody needs to master to improve their life. The first one is to be able to master what you focus on. What you focus on, you create in your life. You cannot focus on something and not give it life, not give it your energy, because where you put your attention is where you put your energy. And what you energize, you give life to. So if you're constantly focusing on what's broken, what's missing, what's lacking, or your insecurity, or your doubt, or your fear, or what people did to you 20 years ago, or whatever the story you're telling yourself, if you put a good amount of time and attention and energy focusing on those things throughout your day, you energize it. It doesn't matter how much you hate it, how much you dislike it, how much you want to get rid of it, how much you're sick of it, you give life to it. So the paradox is that if you focus on your problem, it becomes more solidly rooted. And if you focus on the solution, or if you focus on what you want, you actually open up a space to bring that to life, because you will energize that in your reality as well. Now, this is also the paradox that the more you stop focusing on something or someone or a situation, the more it dissolves from your reality. Have you ever noticed that sometimes something goes viral and everybody is focused on it? Like, boom, that's the whole thing everybody talks about, right? And then the novelty fades away and people start to focus on something else. And then all of a sudden, overnight, nobody gives a shit about that thing. Like, it's gone. And it's almost like nobody even remember what that thing was, or that person was, or that viral thing was. Does that make sense? So that's how powerful, especially when a lot of people focus on the same thing, how much it can grow very fast, but also how much it can fall away very fast. Yeah. So in your own personal life, to create, to achieve what you want, you need to be clear on, okay, first, what do I want, right? And then what do I need to focus on in order to bring that in my reality more? So what are the type of thoughts? What are the type of story? What are the type of mental picture? What is it that I need to start focusing on in my mind that will start energizing this into my reality? And also, at the same time, you need to realize, okay, what am I unconsciously, habitually giving my attention to that I need to stop energizing in my life? Because I don't want it, because it's over, because I need something new, because like I realize it's no longer needed, no longer useful, no longer working for me, right? And so make a list and then start to discipline your mind and start to consciously control your attention. And you'll realize, if you're honest with yourself, that we focus on a lot of useless stuff throughout the day, because all over our social media, all over the internet, all over our smartphone, we are focusing on something, right? And often it's a lot of random things that your algorithm is simply pushing on you, trying to get you emotional, trying to get you to engage and so on. So this is where you need to unfollow some people, delete some stuff, comment, or block yourself from using certain things and refocusing your attention on what actually matters. Because you cannot let your attention go all over the place and expect that not to affect your life. We are always being influenced. Nobody is immune to being influenced. And so you have to realize that the moment something influences you, it is reconditioning you. And it doesn't matter the quality of that information, it is reconditioning you. And so the more you spend time on that particular information, so to speak, the more it takes space and energy in your life, in your manifestation, in your reality. So focus on what you want is the most important first skills you need to master. The second one goes hand in hand, and this is your imagination. What you imagine in your mind, right? The mental picture, the mental movie, the mental thoughts that you have in your mind. And of course, you can think, well, I cannot imagine what I want if I'm not consciously aware of what I focus on, because if you focus on unconscious things all the time, you're going to have a very hard time controlling and disciplining your own imagination, because your own imagination will go based on what you focus on, right? Or based on what is happening around you. And so for a lot of people, the mental picture and the mental movie they create are the same old one based on what they don't want, the missing, the lacking, the broken things, the fears that they have, and they keep on seeing the worst case scenario in their mind. And then they wonder, why am I constantly worried and stressed out and depressed and not getting the things that I want? Our imagination is the greatest creative tool that we have. It's the greatest way that we have to reprogram our mind, but also to let our intention out there to be able to attract, create the situation that we want in our life. And so you need to be able to make space in your life to not only be able to create the mental picture about the thing that you want in present tense as if it's already done, because when you do that, you also place your attention there, right? And so you energize. Whatever you energize in your life, you start to bring in your life, right? But you also need to make sure that you're in your imagination, you stop begging, you stop lacking, you stop mistreating yourself and harming yourself and judging yourself and all those ways of misusing your imagination. Because when you do that, also with your energy, you give life to this. And sometimes I realize that even in my own imagination, I'm begging for the things that I want. I'm not fully convinced that I can have that kind of money or that kind of experience or that kind of things, right? I realize there's doubt. I realize that I hope I can have it. But when you just have that very limited, I hope I can get it, I hope something can happen that I can get it kind of thing, I am begging. I'm not consciously becoming a creator, choosing the experience and giving myself permission to have what I want, right? When you do that, you're imagining and you're focusing from a very different energy and very different space. But when I'm just coming from a imagining from a beggar or from a, please kind of thing point of view, you go and you create from a very different energy, and you're focusing on it from a very different energy with fear, with lack, and with that type of energy, okay? So I'm digressing here, but you have to realize that your imagination and stepping into the energy of not only I have what I want, but I deserve it and I choose it and it's done. And when you can focus with that type of energy and that type of certainty, miracles are open, because now you're opening the possibility for inviting that thing in your life. And the more you do that, the more you energize that vision of yourself and that vision of the life you want to create with your attention and your imagination. Things are about to happen, especially if you starve of the old things, the old experiences and what is happening in your life now. And so those two skills are extremely important to transform your life, but also be happy, be more fulfilled, to creating loving relationship, because it all comes down to being able to focus on what you want and to be able to imagine the thing that you want in your life. Let me know if you have any question down in the comment. As always, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Be well.